What if the Earth, the entire universe, and, well, even the basic geometry of your own body shared the exact same divine blueprint? I don't mean just metaphorically, I mean mathematically.
Mm.
A single repeating signature, an energetic current that connects, say, the pineal gland in your head to a specific mountain in Tibet. So today, we're doing a fascinating deep dive based on sources that argue this is, in fact, reality. We are unpacking what's called the Earth-Man circuit theory.
Right.
And the idea is that Earth's key energy points, its chakras and ley lines, they aren't just random geological formations,
And not at all. The idea is they are patterned directly after the human body's own electrical circuitry.
creating one closed, perfectly synchronized symbiotic system. So our mission today is to try to understand why sources that combine ancient metaphysics, sacred geometry, astronomy, and even biblical interpretation all seem to converge on this one claim, that this recurring pattern is the undeniable fingerprint of the Creator. We'll start by defining the mathematical signature that supposedly governs this whole circuit. Then we'll actually overlay the human body onto the planet to identify Earth's 7 major energy centers. And finally, we'll look at how this ancient knowledge, once used for healing, is allegedly being manipulated by modern military tech. Okay, let's unpack this.
What's fascinating here is that the foundation of this theory, it really rests on physics and architecture, long before it even touches on the metaphysical.
Okay.
The sources claim that ancient builders, the ones who constructed the massive temples, the ziggurats, the pyramids, they knew exactly what they were doing, and more importantly, why they placed these structures where they did. They argue that any site that was deemed sacred or, powerfully energetic was built specifically because it incorporated 4 foundational factors.
4 factors.
Yes, and these are what supposedly define this whole Earth-Man circuit. First, you have the golden ratio, or Philip. Second, specific sacred geometry patterns, like the flower of life motif. Third, it had to be near one of Earth's natural energy vortices. And fourth, a very precise astronomical aspect, aligning with certain stars or planets.
So those 4 points, they suggest these sites aren't just monuments, they're more like highly specialized, deliberately tuned antenna.
That's a great way to put it.
And central to the math is 50 LRs. I mean, we know the golden ratio shows up everywhere, right? From a nautilus shell to the structure of DNA.
That's right. And the proponents of this theory, they really see Phi Tri as the non-negotiable signature or fingerprint of the Creator. It's the mathematical constant that defines divine proportion. The human body is allegedly built according to its exact dimensions.
Which is why we find it so, aesthetically pleasing.
Exactly. But the theory takes it so much further. It suggests it's not just a static blueprint, but a dynamic, flowing rhythm.
And this is where the math gets genuinely, almost mind-bending. The source material claims to connect the Earth's seasons, its tilt directly to our internal biological clocks. And it uses this incredibly precise mathematical signature to do it.
It does, and they provide a highly specific, very complex calculation to support it.
Okay, what's the formula?
It's the golden ratio divided by 50 and then multiplied by 365 days.
Wow.
Yeah, and the calculation yields approximately 188 days. But, instead of getting bogged down in the density of that formula.
Right, let's focus on the result. That formula is incredibly specific. What's the real takeaway? What does 188 days actually explain?
The takeaway, according to these sources, is profound. It suggests that the human body isn't just some random biological machine that's governed by, localized evolution. They claim this 188-day frequency, which supposedly governs the Earth's energy pulses between the solstices, it directly dictates the rhythm of the female menstrual cycle.
Wait, hold on. So they're saying the female cycle, which is fundamental to human life, isn't just internal biology, but a perfect biological response, a synchronization to a global energy pattern.
That's the radical assertion.
A pattern that operates in proportion to the golden ratio.
That's it. It completely shifts the perspective. It suggests the human body is specifically designed to resonate perfectly with the planet's rhythm. And that proves to them the existence of this Earth-Man circuitry.
Okay, so if the golden ratio defines the frequency of the circuit, then the chakras have to be the major nodes, the energy outlets. This is where we shift from abstract math to actual physical geography.
Precisely.
The central claim here is that the Earth is not just a planet. It's a living organism, maybe a temple, patterned directly after the human form.
Exactly. And just as the human body is seen as this electrical system based on frequency, with 7 major chakras, the Earth supposedly has 7 corresponding pressure points where energy travels through ley-lines, making a global circuit.
And the 7 Earth chakras, they're also tied to the 7 classical planets and the 7 primary colors, right?
They are, consistently.
This is where the theory gets so visually compelling. The sources claim if you just superimpose the human form onto a world map.
The symmetry is meant to be striking.
Yeah. Let's trace that map, because some of these placements are not what you'd expect.
Okay, let's start at the foundation. The root chakra.
The base.
The base, exactly. Associated with the color RD, the base of the spine. And the sources identify this point as Mount Shasta in California.
Mount Shasta. So that's the generator, the point where the energy is grounded.
That's the idea.
And moving up the body from there,
Yeah.
the sacral chakra.
Right, the sacral is next. Color orange, linked to the reproductive and adrenal system. That is placed at Lake Titicaca in South America.
You know, that area is famous for its ancient megalithic sites. It feels kind of fitting for a creation center.
It does. Then we hit the solar plexus, the center of personal power, which is yellow.
And that location.
That lands thousands of miles away at Uluru or Ayers Rock in Australia.
So you have these ancient, powerful monoliths acting as planetary pressure points.
Then you get to the heart chakra, center of love, balance, the color breen.
Okay, where do the sources place this one? This is a big one.
It lands squarely in England at Glastonbury, and it's often combined with Shaftesbury. This is the pivotal center connecting the lower physical chakras to the upper spiritual ones.
Okay, so that raises an interesting question. Giza, the Great Pyramid. I mean, that's seen as the pinnacle of ancient knowledge. I would guess that would map to the crown, the top.
A lot of people would, but Giza is actually placed lower than you'd expect. It corresponds to the throat chakra, BLUE.
The throat, communication, sound.
Exactly, the center of manifestation. The argument is that the pyramid's geometry was designed to broadcast or amplify energies related to that throat function on a planetary scale. It's a communication hub.
It's an antenna. That makes a kind of sense.
Right.
So if Giza's the throat, where's the third eye? The pituitary, the indigo center.
That moves further north, also landing in England at Shaftesbury, which is sometimes linked with Glastonbury.
And finally, the crown. The highest spiritual center, PLE.
That is definitively placed at Mount Kailas in Tibet, the most sacred mountain in Asia.
That is an incredibly detailed and specific pattern. And the theory, it reinforces this by pointing out that number 7 is everywhere, right? Even on our faces.
The 7 orifices.
2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth. It all reinforces this idea of a universal intelligent blueprint, a divine reflection that just repeats itself at every scale.
And building on those locations, the next question is, well, why? Why did ancient civilizations go to such extreme lengths to build these sacred centers precisely on these ley lines and chakras?
Right, what was the function?
The answer, according to the sources, wasn't just reverence, it was functional energy. They believed that by building these geometric sacred structures on these nodes, they could literally feed off the frequency and the resonance for powerful healing and repair.
For both the Earth's grid and the human body.
For both.
And the architecture itself is the evidence. How specific do these claims get?
Oh, extremely specific. A classic example is the work of Schwaller de Lubitsch on the Temple of Luxor in Egypt. He mapped the temple's construction and found it wasn't random at all. It perfectly incorporated sacred geometry and, get this, human body proportions.
The Anthropocosmos man.
That's what he called it. The temple was a man with chambers corresponding to the heart, the lungs, the stomach.
So they were building a physical, functioning replica of the human body on a giant scale, right on an energy nexus.
Exactly. And the sources claim other big sites follow the same pattern. Solomon's Temple, the Great Pyramid. They all allegedly correlate to this exact body/earth pattern.
But the sources also suggest these spots are more than just power stations. There's something else entirely.
Yes. They're often believed to be gates or portals.
Portals.
The idea is that because the energy is so focused and amplified at these points where the circuits meet, these are locations where the very fabric of matter, space, and time can be, manipulated or altered.
And the evidence for that is supposed to be the unexplained phenomena around the globe.
That's right. The source material connects this to strange events in 12 specific geographic areas that exhibit these mysterious magnetic qualities.
Like the Bermuda Triangle.
Or the Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Sea near Japan. They're seen not as anomalies, but as the result of a hyperactive, complex energy grid.
Which leads directly to the question of modern application. I mean, if this knowledge is powerful enough to create portals, it's knowledge that can be profoundly beneficial or profoundly dangerous.
And that's the pivot to the modern era. This is where the sources get a bit more speculative about intent. The theory alleges that the privileged class, the rulers of Earth, are still building monuments, skyscrapers, palaces, even military bases based on these same four ancient principles.
Golden ratio, sacred geometry, energy vortices, and astronomy.
The very same ones.
And the most dramatic modern example they cite is HARP,
HARP, yes.
the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. It's always at the center of these theories. What's the specific connection between HARP and the Earth's chakras?
The claim is that HARP functions like a massive, highly sophisticated antenna. And it's designed not just to study the ionosphere, but to intentionally receive and transmit specific energy frequencies.
Okay.
And since the 7 Earth chakra points also function as natural receivers and transmitters like giant planetary antennae, the concern is that a technology like HARP is designed to mimic or maybe interfere with that global energy grid.
What would be the point of that interference?
Well, the fear is control. By manipulating the planetary frequency in a specific region, they could allegedly affect the people living there.
How so?
By inducing certain emotions, maybe infirmities, or even targeting specific biological responses.
Which is where you get the fears of climate manipulation and mind control.
It leads directly there. The idea is, if you can change the planet's resonance, you change the human body's resonance because they are fundamentally linked.
That brings us back to the most fundamental premise of all this. The reason for the blueprint in the first place, which is rooted in the theological context from the source material. And here's where it gets really interesting. The source material posits this anthropomorphic view of the Creator. It argues that Jehovah fashioned the earth and the human form as a facsimile of himself, in form and likeness, from Genesis.
Right.
Which would mean creation itself is intended to be a divine reflection of God. That explains why the pattern is so persistent.
And that theological implication, it dictates the necessity of this closed symbiotic system. Humanity wasn't designed randomly. We were designed specifically for Earth.
They point to some incredible symmetries to prove this point, right?
Right.
Not just energy flow, but physical composition.
They do. For instance, the precise oxygen-CO2 exchange, where the Earth's respiration sustains our own. And most strikingly, both the Earth's surface and the human body are made up of approximately 70% liquid.
We are structurally and energetically identical to our planetary home.
And this anthropomorphism, it even extends to how the Earth is viewed metaphorically in the Bible.
The idea of the earth as a woman giving birth.
Yes. They relate this to the biblical concept of the rapture event, suggesting that the moment Earth expels life to the outside is the moment of transcendence. Earth is the mother supporting the whole circuit.
You know, this entire perspective, it ties into a concept that's gaining traction in, let's say, fringe science today. The electric universe.
It absolutely does. The theory that the cosmos isn't dominated by gravity and inert matter, but is supported entirely by frequency and invisible energy fields.
Like these chakras.
Exactly. It's an electrical charged universe. And this really highlights a cultural divide, doesn't it? Oriental cultures have studied these invisible energies for millennia, while Western science, focused on the measurable, hasn't always recognized it as a true science.
So what we have is a universal pattern. It's mathematically defined by the golden ratio, geometrically expressed through sacred sites, and it runs on an energetic current that connects our bodies to the planet in a symbiotic cycle.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the sheer recurrence of these patterns, the 7 chakras, the golden ratio, it confirms, for the proponents of this theory, an intelligent design woven into everything. And maybe the strongest proof is how the human body conforms to these numbers. The sources stress that the number 7 isn't arbitrary. Human cells regenerate every 7th day. The body's mainframe, its overall constitution, is believed to rejuvenate itself fully every 7 years.
These aren't just mystical numbers, they're embedded biological clocks matching a cosmic rhythm, which brings us right back to the application of this knowledge. If these ancient temple locations were really built to harness Earth's energies for physical healing, for the transformation of the spirit and soul, or even for the transportation of the body, then we are looking at a profound lost technology.
And this raises a really important question. If ancient knowledge linked these powerful energy points to ascension and deep healing, what specific positive utilization did ancient people access to use these Earth frequencies solely for the transformation of human consciousness, a knowledge we've seemingly replaced with modern applications focused almost exclusively on military and control objectives like HARP? What incredible uplifting capacity of this planetary circuit have we collectively forgotten?